So you're thinking about a career on the water in Canada, huh? Awesome. But before you even think about stepping onto a deck, there is one piece of paper you absolutely have to get. It's the Canadian Marine Medical Certificate. You can think of it as your official passport to a life at sea. But here's the thing, getting it isn't always smooth sailing. We're going to break down the entire journey for you, from the very first step to some of the hidden challenges a lot of seafarers run into. We've laid this all out in 5 key parts. First, we'll cover the basics, what this certificate even is. Then, we'll walk you through the application process. After that, we'll look at the exam itself, what to do with your results, and finally, we'll explore what it's really like to be a certified seafarer. And yeah, that includes some surprising flaws in the system that you really need to know about. All right, first things first, let's get right into what this certificate is and why it's a total non-negotiable if you want to work on Canadian waters. To put it simply, the Marine Medical Certificate is the official document that proves you are physically and medically fit for what can be a really demanding life at sea. It's your golden ticket, the one thing that says, yep, this person can handle the job. And who needs one? Literally everyone. This is not optional. Canadian law is crystal clear. Every single seafarer has to have either the full certificate or a provisional one, and you've got to be ready to show it. No certificate, no job. It's really that simple. Okay, you get it. You need the certificate. So, what's next? Let's chart the course for actually getting one. We're going to cover the essential steps you have to take before you can even think about booking that exam. Transport Canada lays out a pretty clear 3-step process. Now, listen closely because step 1 is the big one. You must get a candidate document number or CDN. It's your unique ID in their system. Without it, your application is basically dead in the water. Once you have that all-important number, then you can go find a designated marine medical examiner and book your appointment. Oh, and there is an age requirement, but it's pretty straightforward. You just need to be at least 16 years old when you go in for your examination. Now, this is where things can get complicated. Finding an examiner sounds easy, right? But for Canadians in remote areas like the Northwest Territories, it's a huge hurdle. We are talking about a serious investment of time, money, and often plane tickets just to get to an appointment. This is one of the first major roadblocks many people hit. So, you've navigated all the prep work. You've made it to your appointment. Now, let's talk about the exam itself and what it really takes to be considered fit for duty. The standards are tough for a reason. Life at sea is no joke. You've got to prove you can lift and carry 22 kilograms, wear a breathing apparatus while you're climbing, and be able to squeeze into some really tight spaces. And the stakes couldn't be higher. You have to be physically able to fight a fire or abandon ship at a moment's notice. And let's be really clear about substance use. Because Transport Canada is, under the criminal code, it's illegal to operate a vessel while impaired. The rule is no cannabis within 48 hours of your duties, and you have to be completely upfront about your history during the exam. Safety is absolutely paramount here. After your exam, you're going to get one of 3 possible outcomes. Fit is the goal. You're good to go, no strings attached. Fit with limitations means you can still work, but maybe with some restrictions on where you can sail or the kind of work you can do. And then there's unfit, which means you don't meet the minimum standards. So what happens if you get a result you weren't expecting? Well, an unfit determination isn't always the end of the road. There is an appeal process. So you get the letter and it says unfit or fit with limitations. What do you do? This is a really critical question for a lot of applicants. The key thing to remember here is that you have options, but the clock is ticking. The moment you get that written decision, you have only 30 days to ask Transport Canada for a reconsideration. If that doesn't work, there is one final step. You can appeal to the Transportation Appeal Tribunal of Canada. You did it. You passed the exam, you navigated the paperwork, and you have your certificate. So let's look at what comes next and uncover some of the deeper issues with this kind of one-size-fits-all national system. So how long is your certificate actually good for? Well, it depends on where you're sailing. If you're doing international voyages, it's typically valid for 2 years. For domestic voyages, right here in Canada, it can be valid for up to 5 years. And for anyone under 18, the max is always 1 year. But just holding that certificate brings us right back to the real-world challenges. For a lot of people up north, the national requirements just feel totally disconnected from their day-to-day. This quote from that NWT options paper, it really highlights a deep frustration that the rules and the training are so irrelevant to local conditions that they're actually putting businesses at risk. I mean, just take a look at this. It's a rigging diagram from the official training material. Now, try to imagine you're a guide with 30 years of experience on the Mackenzie River, and you're being tested on the rigging of a tall ship. This is exactly what those operators are talking about when they say the material is Southern-based and has nothing to do with their actual work. And then you've got the cost. Now, Transport Canada doesn't actually charge for the certificate itself, but the total bill for training and certification in the NWT averages out to $2,250 per person. For a small, seasonal tourism industry, that number is just unsustainable. Which really brings us to one last big question. When you have a country as huge and diverse as Canada, can a single national standard for marine certification ever really be fair and effective for everyone from the Great Lakes all the way to the high Arctic? It's a tough question, and it's one that regulators and seafarers are still trying to figure out today.
For free SVOP practice tests, click the link in the description or scan the QR code on your screen. Start practicing today and prepare with confidence.